Good afternoon, kings and queens. Welcome to SBZ Space. I'm happy to do another video for you. And this one is based on Home Affairs. Please let us watch the video and I'll come back with my analysis as always.
I believe that precisely because Home Affairs has become perhaps the most synonymous department with failed service delivery and with experiences that people have there, and because it touches everyone's life, right from the beginning of your life to the end and every part in between. That is exactly the portfolio that we should focus on turning around, because I think we would all agree on the day that I was appointed that it was a widespread assumption that this is the most broken part of certainly citizen-facing services in South Africa. And so if we can improve that, then surely we can improve anything. And that's why I want to take Home Affairs from Hell Affairs to Hope Affairs. It's that simple. I want to show that you can take something that everyone has given up on. It's preposterous to say to a minister, why would you want this job? You should want this job, because this is the one that the turnaround will be the most impactful. So I actually want to just go back and say there's one thing I'm very grateful for, and that's actually what I did before politics. And maybe that's an important point. You should have a bit of a life outside of politics. Before that,
fighting cadre deployment as far as I remember.
But even before that, I worked as a researcher at Princeton University in the US for a number of years, and I did research on how do you build successful government institutions in countries in Asia and Africa, often in post-conflict environments. And I was joking the other day, I feel like Home Affairs was like a post-conflict environment in some sense. But that has been so valuable for me in retrospect, because the most important lesson I learned there is that you have to have crystal clear priorities. You have to know exactly what is the root cause of the problem, and then you have to focus on that relentlessly. So when I look back at the first speech I did in the NCOP about 14 months ago now, I had a very clear message, similar to what the Commissioner said. We have to change the culture completely in this organization to focus on innovation and to use technology and digital transformation to overcome our problems. And you have to just be interested. You have to actually care about fixing real problems, not about being seen to be doing something, not about being on some kind of PR campaign. What are the real problems that people are having, and what do the solutions look like? And then how do you link that back to your clear priority? And that's what we've systematically done. So let me give you a concrete example of how this new outlook, this perspective, and this culture that we've brought in is going to yield real results, and is already doing so. One of the things we looked at is, of course, the queues. And we had a chat about it earlier, and I think it's such an important point that a lot of people ask me on day one, how are you going to speed up the queues? The question we should be asking is, why are there queues in the first place? It's like saying we want faster horses when cars have been invented. Why do people go to stand in a queue at some centralized location where you are entirely beholden to what happens in that particular office? When we live in a country where we have a revenue service that has used technology to decentralize your tax process and to automate it, when we have banking industry that has done the same. Home Affairs is very much like a bank. It stores your data like you would store your savings at a bank, but its job is not to make it impossible for you to access your savings. Its job is to secure access and make it easy for you to access that. And ironically, when we looked at how we can approach that particular problem, there was this partnership that had been in place for almost a decade between 30 bank branches and the department, where you could go into 30 locations around the country to apply for a smart ID and a passport. So the first question is, why isn't this 300 or 1,000? What's holding us back? And I think this case study shows exactly what we are changing in Home Affairs, because the previous model was based on duplication. The idea that you had to put a little mini Home Affairs office inside a bank branch where you put your own official, your own camera, your own fingerprint scanner when the bank already had that. And secondly, when the bank was already integrated with Home Affairs through the online verification service, when you put your fingerprints down at a bank branch to open a bank account, it verifies against the Home Affairs database. So we said, well, why are we doing it like it's from the dark ages? Let's build on this existing integration so that you can use the camera and the fingerprint scanner and the online verification service that is already a secure link between the banks and Home Affairs. And then this could happen in every bank branch, and it can eventually happen on your banking app. And that's what we were able to announce a few weeks ago, that we are now going to roll this out massively across the country. And just think what that means for someone in a rural area who previously had to take a day off of work or, spend all this money on getting a taxi to drive 4 hours, stand in a queue, sometimes be turned away, have to come back the next day. And now they go to the same place where they, do their banking services or their social grant. That's the kind of access that we can create
And I
if
see
we
on
think
your
differently.
X feed that every day a new bank's coming on board. Where are we now?
Yes, I think we're sitting at 7. We'd like it to go up to all the ones that we've invited. So if your bank hasn't joined yet, this is your moment to put pressure on them.
Thank you.
Because we are really serious about collaboration. I think that's the other important part about culture. And our biggest partner is sitting right next to me here. The South African Revenue Service has been a rock for us in this process, precisely because it has done some of the same kind of approaches that we would now like to do. And so we've got an MOU with them, and we work very closely together. We're working with those banking partners, and we really are saying South Africa clearly has the skills to do this. We do this in so many domains. We're actually a world leader when it comes to digital financial services. Why can't we leverage that to do the same at the state level? And I think that's where, if we get this right, and we haven't even spoken about digitalizing the visa system and everything else where we're applying the same principle. If we get this right, I believe we're going to build a new model for how you can modernize the state. That's what SARS did years ago and what the Commission is accelerating now with AI and other technology. We want to take Home Affairs and make it a case study in how you can take a problem that was intractable, that people said was hell affairs, that is unfixable, poison chalice, and show how you can change the culture in an organization to embrace technology and innovation, and then you can actually fix those problems which for decades have seemed intractable.
Welcome back, kings and queens, to SBZ Space. I hope you have heard the official of Home Affairs. I have some few points to cover. But before I forget, I would want to say something. The official was very trained from the United States as a researcher. Think about that. He was groomed from the US. That's not a coincidence. Somewhere, maybe others they may say it is a coincidence, or it's just luck for him. But for me, nothing is a coincidence, especially when includes white people. Remember, white people are a minority, and they will make sure that they plan their things. And remember, we have the youngest population ever in the world, and having them to control the data, our data, is very profitable for them. It's a neo-colonialism. And it is said in me that we can see that he speaks good things to come, or good things that are happening right now. But under the carpet, that's not the case. There is a greater agenda besides all of what is happening right now. Remember, as a man, maybe if you are trying to win a girl, you'll come up with flowers, you'll come up with good words, and etc. etc. It depends what type of a person you are inside. If you are good, your works will follow your words. But if you are not, the girl or the woman is damned. That's what I'm talking about when it comes to the home affairs in South Africa, or in Africa as a whole. Remember, he said that the home affairs is viewed as a bank. We know that we are in a monopoly capitalism. White people have monopolized this banking system, and as Africans or Bantu people, we have little or no chance of opening our own banks or having systems that are controlled by us. That's the first thing that we need to think about. On my first point is that why suddenly DA is in control of home affairs in South Africa. That's the question that you need to ask yourself. As I've covered in my other video, it was strategically aligned and well planned that DA comes to this position. US is involved in this thing. There's no mistake when it comes to white people as agenda. And we know that this is a build-up for one world government. What does DA stands for? What are the things that are so important to DA? You must ask yourself that question. And it is clear that white supremacy is the DA agenda. And you may go to Cape Town, one of the province that they have great numbers there. When you go to Khayelitsha and other areas there, they are not in a good state. But when you go to Stellenbosch and other areas, they are well off, they are clean, and they have good budget. But when it comes to Africans, that's not the case. We must always be begging or be given scraps or even crumbs. Who controls DA? It's not even Helen Zille that is controlling DA. DA is controlled by those who funds DA, the elites, and America. DA is a weapon for white supremacy. And again, we need to be very mindful of how we see the world. Because remember, if we think that we are going to defeat this system, it is not enough just to say, I need to vote, or maybe I'm not going to vote. It's not enough. The voting system, it's a game. A game that will never win. As long as you're in a third class or second class, you'll never win this race of voting. Another question: what is the reality of DA? I think this question I've covered in the previous question. The reality of DA is that white continues to rule and dominate everyone in the world, or I can say in South Africa. That's the reality of DA. Nothing else. Is DA designed to benefit all, especially Africans? You've heard that the reality of DA is white supremacy. Clearly, DA is not designed for us to benefit. DA is a tool to perpetuate white supremacy. And Home Affairs, coming back to it, is a tool that is used to bring about the end of time. Meaning, there will be digital IDs, currency, visas, as you've heard, and that will eventually escalate to a mark of the beast. It is very sad that we are living in such a world, but it was very prophesied, and we need not to be worried. What we need is unity, and we need to love one another as Africans. When I say Africans, I don't include everyone. People melanin are Africans. Those are the people you need to unite with. Those are the people who have your interest. I know it's very scary to think that, or maybe to feel powerless, that there's nothing you can do. It all starts with unity and love, understanding, and patience. However, this time is not for games. It's not for pointing fingers to anyone or waiting for a savior. No. This is time to unite and start working. Make no mistake, it is possible. We need to start where we are, especially raising awareness of helping people to wake up. I'm very saddened by the reality of how black people are living today. Lots and lots of ignorance. And I know it's not by their own fault. Sometimes it's not their fault. But at many a times, it's by not taking unity seriously. Take, for instance, if the banks are in control of your data, or the Mzansi app that they're talking about, our president, where are the servers? Where are the servers for those things? For these things of Home Affairs, where are the servers? Who designs these things? Because remember, I've never heard the current ruling party, even before, as they came to power, that they've done an overhaul of government. They've continued from the apartheid system. So who does this thing benefit? Kings and queens, I don't want to depress you, but I want to give you hope. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'll continue to bring awakening content. It is free. However, subscription and likes will help me, or will help the content to reach more people. I love you. That's why I'm doing these videos. I know they will benefit people who need them most in the future. And the future is now. I love you. See you on the next video.